She's all right. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach today. We pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If the shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. If I had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? For all praises be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's go on over here to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. Shalom, Brother Reynolds. You're getting restless. And it says, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For truly I say unto you, till Shamahim and the rats pass one jot or one tittle, shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called least in the Malkuth of Shamahim. Whosoever shall do and teach, the same shall be called great in the Malkuth of Shamahim. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter in to the Malkuth of Shamahim. So, talking to the little homie earlier today, he had a lot of things that was going in his mind because of a particular epistle letter. We'll lead off with that epistle letter. And then we'll probably grab on the Galatians, which I heard some people arguing about earlier. You know what I'm saying? But the brothers were bringing for a good understanding. They just couldn't catch it. Let's come over here to Galatians chapter 3, which is not a chapter that's foreign to any of you. That's been around here for a while anyway. Galatians 3 and 1. O foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you that you should not obey the truth? Before whose eyes Yahushua HaMashiach have been evidently sent forth crucified among you. This only would I learn of you, received you the Ruach by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith. Now, this is where you're going to have to come up and think about things in the Old Testament. Can you identify anybody who received the spirit of Yahuwah resting upon them in the Old Testament? And then can you identify what they did in order to receive it? No.
You said resting upon him?
Yeah. Where it says the spirit of Yahuwah rested upon them. What you thinking about Adam, that ain't the spirit, that's the breath of life.
David, Yahuwah was with him the whole time.
Yeah, but then you're going to have to identify when David received it and why did he receive it. No, see, what you got to realize is when the Ruach of Yahuwah has two different functions. You'll see that everybody has the Ruach of Yahuwah in their lungs, but the Ruach HaKadosh don't rest on everybody. So what you see with Adam is the Ruach of Yahuwah in his lungs. But you don't read where the Ruach of Yahuwah rested on Adam. You don't get that testimony per se. Where did you read that the Spirit rested upon Solomon? But did it say the Spirit rested on him? Or did it say he gave him wisdom and understanding? You would have to look that up. That's your answer, not mine.
What about Jacob?
Did it say that Jacob? You got to find that. That's your answer,
Yeah,
not mine.
basically that's you need to find the scripture.
You got to prove that.
No.
Because we're doing that because we need to be able to prove what's being stated right here. He said that you received the Ruach by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith. And we will tie that into the Garden of Eden very shortly. Sugar boo. Acts 2 can't be used to justify that. Because you would still need to justify how they received that in Acts 2. But Acts 2 is an example of what he's talking about. So you got to go in the Old Testament to verify that. I read it to you again. This only would I learn of you. Received you the Ruach by the works of the law or by hearing of faith? Boop, you ain't got no toenail. Where they went at? Where they go? Why you ain't got none? All you doing is watching your mom. She ain't went nowhere. You think she gonna run away?
Psalms 51.
But who did it fall on?
David.
Actually, that's not where you're gonna read the spirit falling on David. Actually, it did fall on him, but you're not gonna find that in Psalm 51. Also, if y'all recall, because we've discussed this in the past, David is the only man in the Old Testament that the Ruach fell upon him and you don't read about it coming off. Because you got other people. The Ruach wasn't a permanent indwelling before Yahweh. Let me get this John 7:37 for this point that I'm about to make. Oh, y'all ain't got nothing for me? Because I'm trying to hold out for you. I got time. John 7:37 says, in that last day, that great day of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believe on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this spake he of the Ruach, which they that believe on him should receive. For the Ruach HaKadosh was not yet, because that Yahushua was not yet esteemed. Now, at this particular juncture, the Spirit has not been a permanent indwelling. Now, you're going to have to justify how did he receive it. If you saying Gideon got it, what did he do to get it? Was it by the works of the law, or was it by the hearing of faith? We'll go over here to this Judges 6, because that's the second part, because we're trying to justify what Paul is saying. So he's referencing Judges chapter 6. I know, but verse 34. And it states that, but the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon Gideon. He blew a trumpet, and Ebiezer gathered after him. Now, you're referencing this one here that Gideon received the Ruach. But did he receive the Ruach by works of the law or by the hearing of faith? And that's the second part of the question. If you isolate somebody receiving the Spirit, now you're going to have to show how did they get it? Did they get it because they kept instructions, or did they get it because of the hearing of faith? And you have to show where that hearing of faith or works of the law was at, preceding them receiving it. So let's look at Gideon's story while y'all digging that out. And then we'll go look at David.
Can I use 1 Samuel? For David?
Yeah, because that's where he got it.
1 Samuel 16. Okay.
Yeah, because that's where he got it.
Okay.
Relax. Can you relax? Are you relaxed? Or you just want your mama? Judges chapter 6. He got 13 and 15. Let's look at verse 11. There came a Malachim of Yahuwah, sat under an oak, which in Orpah, that under Joash the Abizarite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide from the Midianites. The Malachim of Yahuwah appeared unto him and said unto him, Yahuwah, with you, you mighty man of valor. Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if Yahuwah be with us, then why is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our father told of us, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us out of Mizraim? But now Yahuwah have forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. Huh? You all right? You ready to go? You ready? Huh? You are. Your mother will be here for you shortly. Yahuwah looked upon him and said, go in this your might, and you shall save Yasharal from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent you? He said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Yasharal? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, I the least in my Abba's house. Yahuwah said unto him, surely I will be with you, and you shall smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, now if I found grace in your sight, then show me a sign that you talk with me. And then go on and so forth. But all this here, what you see the Ruach coming upon Gideon to do what it is that he did, it was from the hearing of faith. There was no law involved. No law was involved. No law was invoked. No law was discussed. 1 Samuel 16. What verse you got, Monte?
I think it was 13.
That's about sound about right. 1 Samuel 16 and 13. And that's when David received it, right? So you have to look. We'll pick it up at verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. He said, neither have Yahuwah chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. He said, neither have Yahuwah chosen this. Again, Jesse made of his 7 sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Yahuwah have not chosen you. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all sons? He said, there yet remain yet the youngest, and behold, he keep the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for he will not sit down till he come hither. He sent and brought him in, and now he was ruddy withal, of a beautiful countenance, goodly to look to. And Yahuwah said, arise, anoint him, this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. Now you've established that the Ruach fell upon David. Now you have to establish, what did David do for that spirit to rest upon him? What did he do? Was it by works of the law, or was it by hearing of faith? What is it that David did for that spirit to rest on him? Shalom, Shaul. Can you answer that for me, sir?
And then we found the scripture.
Yeah. You sleeping? You've been slobbering all on my hand, Joanne. Why are you doing all that? So one of y'all brothers help him out. What did David do that precipitated the spirit falling upon him? What did he do? Did he keep the law, or did he show forth works of faith? Which one did he do?
I would say faith.
And what was it where he manifested that? See, I figured you would have did that, but Goliath is after David is anointed.
Can I use 1 Samuel 17, 15 through 16?
Can't use 17 because he was already anointed and received it.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm gonna repeat that. Answer this after song. After the spirit song.
He had already received it. I'm going to be honest with you. This, my friends, it is. And you know why it is? Because David had done nothing at all at this particular juncture. He had done nothing at all. Nothing that's written, I should say. He was a man after Yahuwah's own heart, but it was nothing in here that was written because he picked David after he rejected Saul. This is after Saul did not kill the Amalekite. Because I was just talking to somebody about this here, right? Y'all familiar with the passage, obedience is better than sacrifice? Do you understand the context of why that was stated? Because a lot of brews use that to push that to Christians about you ought to keep the law. But do you understand the context of why he said that to him? It's 15 and 20. It's somewhere over there. It's 15 and 22. I'll read it to you. And Samuel said, have Yahuwah delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey better than sacrifice, to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion, the sin of witchcraft and stubbornness, iniquity and idolatry, because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, he have rejected you. See, they added that being king, but being king ain't there. But do you understand why he states that obedience is better than sacrifice in context? No, you're going way too far. You don't even have to leave out of this chapter for the context. You don't have to leave out of 1 Samuel 15 for the context. The context is this. Saul was given an instruction to slay everything in the land of Amalek and the king also. But what did Saul say? I kept the best part back and sacrificed it because the people did. So this had nothing to do with that because what is it? Yahuwah gave him a direct instruction. See, this ties into the garden. See, he didn't believe Yahuwah's instruction. See, the reason why I'm focusing on this particular matter, see, this is why I said this was a trick question. Because David received the Ruach, and there's nothing written that what he did to get it. Now, this goes where you mentioned Adam, even though it's not the Ruach, like you see falling on David. You see the difference I'm talking about? He already got the breath of life in him, but the spirit fall on him. But you see Adam getting the breath of life in him. There was nothing that Adam did in order to be made alive. If you want to look at that as like resurrecting from the dead when he made it. Because see, this one goes into Yahuwah falling the spirit on those who just believe, which of course, David's faith is manifested. I have answered that most people go and use. Get the lights up, by the way. All right, Joanne. What's going on? Oh, it makes you happy? Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. Joanne, don't nobody want to hear that. Oh, she ready to go. Shalom, Brother Alex. She ready to go to a moment. That's all. So that's all she's been looking at. Where she at? So when you look at that, right now, I think Tavon got Samuel on there when he called for him. Samuel is a type of different deal also, because how is Samuel even in the play? How is Samuel in the play? You know how Samuel's in the play? Meaning, how is Yahuwah dealing with Samuel? Why is Yahuwah dealing with Samuel? What occurred?
Samuel anointed.
He was anointed at birth. And why was he anointed at birth? Because his mother cried out because she was barren. You know what I'm talking about? But again, but that's an element of, that's a work of faith. No law involved. When she was crying out to Yahuwah, she didn't get that request granted because she didn't eat some pork. You know what I'm talking about? She got that request granted because she believed in Yahuwah. Anytime you see anybody getting the Ruach of Yahuwah resting upon them in this text, it had no, you won't see no law anywhere around. See, we're talking about this because you need to be able to justify his statement when he's asking these Galatians this. Did you receive this man's spirit by the works of the law? Absolutely. There was no faith in law involved with Moses. When he came up out that burning bush and told Moses, go do this and go do that, there was no law. They hadn't even got it yet. They ain't even know it. We talk about that when we deal with Passover all the time. What law got them out of Egypt? They didn't even know no law. They didn't know a law existed. You know what I'm talking about? See, I was telling the brother this here, right? And we had talked about this earlier when we were just on the Clubhouse app, just to be on it. A lot of brothers like to hide behind the law because it can cover up the fact that they don't believe in God. When we talk about don't believe in Yahuwah, we talk about they don't trust in his promises. They have no hope for his promises. They don't have any expectation of receiving a reward from Yahuwah. So the best way to do that is to hide behind you got to keep the law. Now, see, a stupid, wicked nigga going to be listening to this right now and say, see, he said you ain't got to keep the law. When that was not uttered one single solitary time. We're all men. Elohim is not the author of confusion. What does confusion mean in Greek? That means disorder. No man who is of order is going not to have any rules to follow. But see, these men don't live by any rules. So when you mention the fact that you will not exalt walking and talking about rules, they're automatically assume that you saying that you ain't got no rules and you ain't got to keep them. No, sir, you bear witness against your own soul. You understand? See, there's a reason why I'm mentioning what I'm mentioning, right? Because he said obedience is better than sacrifice, right? See, I'm going to show you how to use this out of context. Romans chapter 12 tells you that you need to present your body as a what? So if you present your body as a living sacrifice, that means you took up your stake and followed him. And therefore, you suffered in the flesh to cease from sin. So therefore, you would have obeyed anyway because you were willing to make the sacrifice. You jackass. You know what I'm talking about? And you telling people this here, see, y'all don't keep the law. Obedience better than sacrifice. Ain't there one of these niggas out here sacrificing no animals out here, man. That's not what they doing. You know what I'm saying? But they use this here because it's very feminine. It's to bully people into seeing their point of view versus giving understanding. I just had a dude try to argue me down yesterday. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, no, he was on Facebook, man. They were talking about, lady said Adam should have put his foot down with Eve. I said, whether he put his foot down or not, you can't stop somebody from doing what it is that they want to do. If she wasn't going to do it that day, she was going to do it another. And it wasn't nothing that he could do to stop it. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, praise Yahuwah indeed. It wasn't nothing he was going to be able to do to stop it. You know what I'm talking about? But then the dude, when I tell him, I say, man, he was like, oh, yeah, man, the woman this. I say, bro, I say at the end of the day, I say, man, that's what Yasharal did in the land, male and female alike. Were you not put in the land? And did you not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and die and got put right out? Because he said she got us put out of paradise. I say, then he tell me, oh, you an NWO feminist. I say, well, this ain't got nothing to do with women, boy. You missed the point. It's the woman who became a sin. I say, come on with all that, bro. I say, man, if you want to have a conversation, bro, you can get on Clubhouse or you can call my phone. He said, wow, we got a platform here. I say, nah, I know you a whole nigga. You know what I'm talking about? He doing all this clowning and talking about, oh, you running the wicked flee when no man pursue. I say, well, check this out, brother. Now I know you a lame. But see, this is the point where a lot of brothers don't like to do. See, a lot of these brothers upset. See, a lot of you women, you done hurt these men's feelings. You ain't giving no coochie. You ain't giving no time of day. Or you hurt them, you know what I'm saying? You broke their heart. And now they upset. And now they live their whole life to point at and say women are this and women are that. You know what I'm talking about? Not understanding that the way the women behave is how you behave to your husband. And you really, she's really a reflection of your own disobedience, ungodliness, and unbelief. But you'd rather point your finger at her than accept the fact that you hate your God. Ain't that a shame, little boo-boo? Huh? Yeah. So let's take a look. Let's go back over here to Galatians chapter 3. What we got? There we go. Galatians chapter 3. We in verse 2 again. Now, also, Lisa, like I said, now your Acts 2 example isn't wrong per se, but It's not a scriptural justification. Remember everything that if I ain't never told you nothing, always remember this here. You got to justify Paul's writings out of Genesis to Malachi. You know what I'm talking about? And that's why we stopped and paused when he said this is verse 2 of Galatians 3. Only would I learn of you, receive you the Ruach by the works of the law or by hearing of faith. Now see, I want you to come back to something. Let's go back to the law. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's come over here to Genesis chapter 2. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's look at verse 8. Yeah, I know it. Here she comes. It's all good. Genesis 2 and 8. Yahuwah Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put man whom he had formed. See, pause. Come to Isaiah 45 and 15, I believe. They don't do right by that baby. Make it 45 and 11. Isaiah 45 and 11. Thus saith Yahuwah, the Kadash one of Yasharal and his maker. Ask me of things to come concerning my sons, concerning the work of my hands, command you me. When he mentioned he slew the bear, he mentioned that in chapter 17 on why he was going to run up and slay Goliath. Because David's first mention is in chapter 16 when he is anointed. You know, everything before that is dealing with Saul. David isn't mentioned. You know what I'm talking about? David is an example of a man who was chosen aforetime by Yahuwah and given the gift of life simply by reason of the righteousness of Yahuwah. Now, of course, chapter 17 manifests that David had a faith in Yahuwah to begin with. You know what I'm talking about? But like I said, it was a trick question because there's no before. It was only after. But the after bears witness to the fact that the faith was already present. But we're using this here to prove the point that you don't see, we talked about it last week also, you don't see anybody who was justified by Yahuwah by the works of the law, only by faith. That's the only thing you see. And again, like I say, dudes that hear that, oh, he's saying don't keep the law. That's what I done had brought back. That's what dudes thinking. And I'm telling you, it's because they sinners. Only sinners go through the law, looking for those type of things. The righteous go through the law looking for the promises that pertain to him that would deliver the people from death and the promises that Yahuwah had made to all those who put their trust in him. With that being said, get Isaiah 64 behind this Isaiah 45. Definitely, the people chose Saul and Yahuwah chose David. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to sit back and look at this here because the works of the law and the hearing of faith pertains to this in the garden. Because they could have got the spirit in the garden and they chose the law. Let's take a look and see in a moment. Let me finish this Isaiah 45 and 11. Oh, that's what it was. Look at the pause part right here in verse 11. He said, ask me of things concerned to come concerning my sons, concerning the work of my hands. When y'all hear that, what do you think? You can raise your hand in Clubhouse if you would like to offer. You do not have, that's the purpose why we have that. You do not have to type in the chat on Clubhouse. That is a waste of time to even have it on if you're going to type in the chat unless you are unable to speak. You know what I'm talking about? Now, YouTube, of course, you have to type in the chat. So when you hear verse 11, what comes to y'all mind when you hear that? Oh, you took my chair.
Made me think about Adam, Abraham. We in the Old Testament, so I'll just say Adam. And
no, I mean you got to be Old Testament, just whatever come to mind.
Yeah. Just concerned about the behavior of Adam and Abraham and Yahusha. That's the forefather just in general.
Very well. Monte said the forefather come to mind for him. But what about the rest of y'all? You want some? You want to smell opulent, king-like, with smoky amber, resinous myrrh? Oh, y'all ain't got nothing for me? You gonna smell like that till in the morning. No, for real, that's not last about 24 hours. I appreciate that. He said, first come to mind the sons of Elohim, because the chosen are the work of his hands. Very well. Anyone else? Michael? Because Boop back there hiding. She hiding. I mean, that's no right or wrong answer. If that what you would. That is wrong. Not for real. But no, all jokes aside, let's get some understanding. So look at what he said. Ask of him the things to come concerning my sons, concerning the work of my hands. He said, ask, right? Well, let's get whole Isaiah 45, whole Genesis chapter 2, whole Galatians chapter 3. I want you to come over here to Isaiah 64 and 4. We could read it in 1 Corinthians 2, and maybe we'll be redundant because that's how I feel. 64 and 1, if you would. Let's just pop off at Isaiah 64 and 1, and then we'll read 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and just be redundant. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Ain't that right, Lil Muffin? Ain't that right? Ain't that right, Lil Muffin? What's right? That it ain't gonna hurt nobody. Get on down. Oh, you're not familiar with that record, are you? Oh, I had something to show you. They got a t-shirt with your favorite game on it. Favorite game. Oh, yeah, I ain't even being funny either. Hell no. I didn't buy it I wouldn't buy it for myself. I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Not for that, not right now. But it's a Rock Nation shirt. It definitely got it on the back. Messing with Jay-Z, probably $60.
I don't think I can pay that much for one
I have on numerous occasions. You ain't frugal. You cheap. I walk over here. You come see it. No, I wouldn't buy that for myself. It's tie-dye. I don't wear tie-dye. That's your business.
He's got tie-dye, Mike.
Yeah, I think that nigga wants $60 for that. That's how you know he a New York nigga. He put that on the t-shirt. You like, I'm gonna get that on. I like that. Let him know that's what I play. You don't want no problem with me on here. You gonna be walking around there, two niggas gonna be like, you're gonna be like, yeah, nigga, you know, I played it too.
Right. Let's bust out again right now. Where your milk cartons?
That nigga say, where your milk cartons? Isaiah 64 and 1. Oh, that you would rend Shamahim. Oh, that you would rend Shamahim, and that you would come down, that the mountains might flow down at your presence. Do you see what is being asked? Well, let's take back and look at this here. Pause. Isaiah 24 on the strength. Just on the strength. If you got to do it, you got to do it right. If you're going to bring it, you got to go ahead and like this here. Don't drop that 28 and no 1,000 jar. Put it in the 4. Ain't that right? Make sure that's hard, though. You know what I'm saying? I used to put it in my shoe. Won't even break. You know what I'm saying? Harlem, though. He know. He know about that good work. It don't fade. Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from Shamahim, and the powers of Shamahim shall be shaken. and then shall appear the sign of the son of Adam and Shamahim, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. They shall see the son of Adam coming in the clouds of Shamahim with great power and esteem. See, like this here, right? We just established it, just getting a witness from the Lord's mouth. Come to Isaiah 64, that the heavens would be rendered open. Now, Isaiah is asking that he would do this. Look at what verse 2 says. Of course, you know he's coming with fire to dissolve all the elements thereof. Verse 2 of Isaiah 64, as the melting fire burn, the fire caused the waters to boil, to make your name known to your adversaries, that the nations may tremble at your presence. Just on general principle, Revelation chapter 1 and verse 3. Revelation 1 and 3. Baruch is he that read, and that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Yakanan to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia, mercy unto you. And shalom from him which is, which was, and which is to come, from the 7 ruachs which are before his throne. Let me ask this, because I know there's people on here who don't know. What does this mean when he says which was, which is to come, or him from him which is, which was, and which is to come? Who knows what that means? Several times. And you don't know, you're going to have to go. And the reason why, and I'm doing this here because it just hit my mind. I know it's a couple people on here who have not heard us discuss this, and I will give you the parallel of why you need to know this so that you won't be deceived on the back end. Who knows what that means when he says from which is, was, and is to come? Who you talking to? You talking to yourself?
Is it Yahushua return?
Oh, no. You got to do all 3 elements.
Oh.
Now, Will got the first one from the which is. And that's the lamb slain from the foundation of the world. I will give the love that you had for me before the world was. Now you have to deal with the which was and which is to come. It's which is, which was, and which is to come.
So the lamb slain from the foundation was when
which is, meaning that he existed aforetime.
It is to come when he returns.
John 1 and 1 won't satisfy all the way, Brother Reynolds. You got to be able to knock out all 3 elements, because he's telling you which is, which was, and which is to come. And Brother Reynolds, you're going to understand why I say that, because there's another element to be used that I don't know if you've heard us discuss this one here, of why I'm framing it this here, because we need to be very, very specific so you can understand on the back end the second part of what we're going to discuss. And those of you who've been here for a season, you should know this, or clearly you may have forgotten, and that's okay too. Michael, have you forgotten? Have you not heard that? Say what? What? The disrespect. I don't think we went over this. Huh? No, we did. That means you weren't paying attention. That means you get detention. And your detention is you got to go around this neighborhood and cut all these white folks' yard. Now, however you get the lawnmower, that's up to you. Now, Derek hit the last element, the which was, is the resurrection of the dead. When he resurrected from the dead, because he died. Lil Johnny got his, which is his coming before his death, and is his being alive currently. So clearly all of you have forgotten to not be able to put them all together. Now, again, I'm going to give you scriptural reference for these, so you're going to have to go search them up. When he says, and shalom from him which is, Abba, give me the love that I had with you aforetime before the world was. Why is it which is? What did he tell them people who he was, and they wanted to stone him for it? No. No. Your son just told you. Have you forgotten? Monte, get John 8:58 and read it for your wife out loud for her, please. Because she don't seem to remember.
You said John 8, what?
8:58. 8:58. John 8:58.
You want me to read like I'm on the corner?
Nah, you ain't got to read it like a nigga, man.
Yahushua said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, before Abraham
Before
was,
Abraham was,
I am.
I am. What did he just tell them people?
I am.
And before the foundation of the earth.
No. He just told them he was Yahuwah. See, Boop, no, she just told him he was Yahuwah. What does Yahuwah mean? What does the great I am mean? You don't recall. We spent time with this. In Exodus 3:14, I am means what? Self-existing and self-sustaining. So when he says which is, he's saying that he is the I am, which was because he became a man, he died, resurrected from the dead, and ascended back to Shamahim, which is to come, meaning the I am or Elohim shall return. Why have I stressed this here? Because of the importance of what we're going to look at in Revelation 17. That's right, Mother, on the Ancient of Days. Because when you look at the beast, what did verse 8, what does it say about the beast? The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. They that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. What does that mean when he says the beast that was and is not yet is? What does that mean? You need to contrast it in comparison to what Yahushua said. Because Yahushua said he is, which was, and which is to come. The writer John here says the beast was and is not, yet is. Do y'all recall? That's why I'm asking, because see, you need to know this. This needs to be in your brain. If this remains in your heart, you cannot be deceived in those days if Yahuwah see fit to keep you alive. See, this is why I tell y'all, we ain't got time to be around here arguing with people and going back and forth with people. See, because if I would have got dude on the phone on the clubhouse, he would have been confounded. Yes, he will mimic Yahushua, but that is not a sufficient enough answer to give understanding. Again, gentlemen, I'm pushing you to be able to open this up and give understanding. We can't have generic answers. You need to be specific with pinpoint accuracy, the accuracy of a marksman, a trained marksman, a Marine, if you would. Maybe a Green Beret, maybe a Navy SEAL, whichever one you prefer, special ops. So if it seems like I'm being anal retentive with you, gentlemen, it's because I need you to be specific. Darius puts Daniel 11:30. I think that's referencing when he says that he will exalt himself above all things that are called God. But let me tell y'all, let y'all know which the which was is. The beast that was. Because he was an Elohim. Do you know how he was an Elohim? Boop, you can tell me how Satan was an Elohim? Because that's who's in the beast. That's right, because remember, angels are divine ones, and they can be considered to be Elohim, correct? So when you look at, but is not, because he is not Elohim, yet he is standing as if he is Elohim. Do you understand? Do y'all see the difference? That's why he says that is not yet is. He is not God, but he's standing in the throne of God, in the house of God, in the city of God, proclaiming himself to be God. You know what I'm talking about? 12:9 is a tad bit different because it's dealing with him getting casted out. We want to make sure that we stay completely focused on the comparison, because you just read where John says, Yahushua says, which was, well, which is, which was, and which is to come. And the is the most important part, because when he says which is and is to come, it's relating to the great I am, because it is he that is or exists. He does not exist, meaning the beast. He is not self-existing and self-sustaining. So he is not God. That's what that means. Let no man deceive you. You know what I'm talking about? Isaiah 64. Do y'all understand? Is everybody good on that? I see you, sugar boo. Your mama took your ponytails out. Or was it your afro puffs? That's your one talk. That's okay, boo. That's fine. Be that way. 64. Oh, I didn't finish Revelation 1. I'm sorry. Back to Revelation 1. It just got on that point. That ain't what we came to Revelation 1 for. But nevertheless, Revelation 1 and 5. I'll read 4 again. Yakanan to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia. Mercy unto you and shalom. From him which is, which was, and which is to come. From the 7 ruachs which are before his throne. And from Yahushua HaMashiach, the faithful witness, the first begotten of the dead, the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood. And he has made us kings and priests unto Elohim his Abba. To him esteem and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see him. They which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, which was, which is to come, the Almighty. He telling you, he, you. See, a lot of dudes see that and they just don't want to say, he telling you, he, Yahuwah. And he telling you that he coming to execute the day of Yahuwah, which is a great day of wrath, a day of gloominess, a day of darkness. Because what did he tell you? I create the good and the evil, the light and the darkness. I, Yahuwah, do all these things. Nevertheless, back to Isaiah 64. Do you see how it says that you be known to your adversaries, that the nations may tremble at your presence? They're wailing at because of him. They're trembling at his presence. And now his name will be known, because what did we read on Wednesday? That he'll have a vesture with a name written that said King of Kings and Lord of Lords. They will know the name of Yahuwah in that day. They will have no other option. Let's continue. Verse 3, when you do terrible things, this is Isaiah 64 and 3, if you would, we look not for, you came down, and the mountains flowed down at your presence. For since the beginning of the world have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have the eye seen, O Elohim, beside you. He hath prepared for him that wait for him. He said, ain't nobody seen, nobody knows what he has prepared for us but him. That's the only person who knows. See, now let's come over here to 1 Corinthians 2. Let's be redundant. First Corinthians 2 and 1 is fine. And brethren, this is 1 Corinthians 2 and 1. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Elohim. For I have determined not to know anything among you save Yahushua HaMashiach and him crucified. See, that's going to take us back to Matthew 5 and 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. See, you know what Hebrews go wrong at? You want to take that and weaponize that against a Christian to say, see, we ought to keep the law, when you should take it to show forth that he fulfilled the book. He is the Son of God. Put your trust in his name and deliver your soul from death. That's what you ought to have done. You know what I'm talking about? But you know why Brews do that? Because you Eve, nigga. You want the tree of knowledge of good and evil because it seemed to make you wise. That's what you want. You don't want to live forever. Because the one thing about living forever, taken from that tree of life, you ain't got to do nothing. See, let me tell you something real, man. Remember what Yahushua told that dude? He said, man, how can I work the works of Elohim? What did he tell him the works of Elohim were? John 6, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you fish it out for yourself. When he told the man that, what did he tell him the works of Elohim were? What did he say it was? Oh, you don't know. You look perplexed. Yes, that's what he told him. To believe on him whom he hath sent. That's what he told him the work was, to believe. And guess what? To believe on Yahuwah, don't take no action. Just believe from the heart. That's all you got to do. Hear a word and believe it. And guess what? Because you heard a word and you believed it, then you live according to the word of which you believe. That's what he means when the just shall live by their faith. That's what I meant when I told you. The man say obedience is better than sacrifice. Well, guess what? Yahushua HaMashiach told you to take up your stake and follow him, did he not? Peter wrote in his epistle letter, he that suffered in the flesh ceased from sin. That's the mind that the Mashiach had. That's the mind that you should have had. Do you not understand that the Mashiach sacrificing himself was being obedient to a promise that his father made to him? So see, when you sacrifice according to the gospel of Yahushua, then you will obey. And guess what? You can only sacrifice for one reason and one reason alone, because you believe the promise. You can't make a sacrifice to a promise you don't believe in. Ain't no promise in the law. Them niggas can go through it as many times as they want to. They can spin it, grin it, and chin it. You can't find no promise in there. Where's the promise at in Leviticus 23? Where is it at? That's feast days in there. Ain't no promise in there. Where a promise at? It's only one promise in Exodus chapter 20. Who can tell me which one it is? And you got to have understanding to know that's a promise. It's only one promise in Exodus chapter 20. Who can tell me what it is? Exodus 20. It's a promise in Exodus 20, which is the 10 words. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land that you go to possess. That's a promise. And if you got to understand it, you understand that if you obey your father, which is in heaven, and your mother, which is Jerusalem, meaning your mother, which is up above, then your days will be multiplied. See, that's a promise. But you got to have understanding to know that's a promise. But ain't no promises in the law like that. The law is an instruction between what is good and what is evil. Does that mean that the law is not good? Absolutely not. We don't abandon the law. We uphold it. We uphold it because we know that that's what sanctifies us as far as conduct and behavior is concerned. Our Elohim is Kadash, so we will be Kadash. But we uphold the righteousness of faith because we'll speak all the day long about the mighty works of our God and the promises that he has made to all those who trust in him. I don't need to be walking around here telling nobody don't sleep with your brother. Don't go look at your mama and daddy naked. You know what I'm talking about? What's the point? What that's going to do? Oh, he a sissy. I know he a sissy. He need to put that man penis down. You know what I'm talking about? We'll put that thing in. These niggas sissies now, but they think it's cool because they got an old lady. It don't make you not a sissy if you let a woman anally penetrate you with a dildo, boy. You a homosexual. You are a sodomite in the outside of God, boy. Save your soul and stop being a sissy. You know what I'm talking about? You got these brews think that junk cool, man. Talking about women eating each other out. Nigga, ain't nothing cool about woman on woman. Don't say it. I told you before, but that nigga Charleston White ain't told no lie. And I had the same thought process that he had. Don't say you got a problem with man on man, but you cool with woman on woman. You a hypocrite. You ought to go to hell. Like I told you before, these dudes be mad with these women, man. And they be mad with these women because they made a fatal mistake. You made that woman your whole life. I just seen a dude, I guess they were talking about this on the LaPeep show last night. I didn't watch it. But a dude told the men that you're not a real man if your woman inspires you. And them niggas got offended. Now, I don't know the context of why he said it, but I can understand why he said it, because you should be inspired before you ever meet a woman. You know what I'm talking about? You should be inspired because of your God. If you need a woman to be your inspiration, you already behind the 8 ball as a man. So I could understand why he said that. I don't personally have a disagreement with that. Because I serve God. Yahuwah is my inspiration. I'm not inspired by no woman. You know what I'm talking about? Dudes say everything men done did, that don't make it right. One thing about David, everything David did, his inspiration was Yahuwah. It wasn't no woman. Even the works that Solomon did, his inspiration wasn't no woman. You notice in the text, anytime a man's inspiration was because of a woman, it caused him to get outside the will of Yahuwah. It caused him to get outside the will of Yahuwah. That doesn't mean that women are evil or bad. It means that a man's first priority of inspiration should be his Elohim. Period, point blank. That ain't got nothing to do with no woman. That doesn't. And if you inspired by a woman, that don't make you wrong. Don't make you right. It just makes you, I'm inspired by her. Depends on what you might have been inspired. I'm inspired to make a painting of my wife, and you paint. All right, yeah, hey, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But if you again look at a woman and say, I'm inspired to do great things because of this woman, see, Yahuwah is the type of Elohim that will take that woman from you just to see if you will remain inspired. You know what I'm talking about? That's what, and that's what I be meaning with people who say that's when you start drifting into idolatry. Because that's when you begin to you'll begin to put someone or something before him. You have to be careful with that. But see, we on a different wavelength than what the people is. And then of course people hear that and think that something that doesn't reflect negatively upon a woman. I think truth be told, most women, especially godly women, I would be willing to wager, would not want to be their man's inspiration. Like you shouldn't be inspired by your wife to go out and hustle. You should have already had that inspiration before you met her. And then you're not doing it for hers because you've made her your responsibility. So since you've made this person your responsibility, you know that you owe them that responsibility to maintain to the responsibility that you've pledged that you will do. That's not an inspiration. That's what Buddy said. I owe a duty to you. I volunteered to be responsible for you. You know what I'm talking about? So I owe you that. That's just like if you have a child, you don't have to tell that child, that's why I take care of you. I owe you that responsibility to care for you because I made you. You know what I'm talking about? But you're not my inspiration to go do X, Y, Z. Because if you need external inspiration that doesn't pertain to Yahuwah as a man, you're already in a bad spot. You know what I'm talking about? You're already in a bad spot. You should be inspired because at the end of the day, it's your life. Your wife and your kids are a co-star in your life. When you sit back and you look at Yahusha, you are playing a supporting role in his story. But it's his story. And it's going to go how he wants it to go. See, Yahuwah was not inspired to come deliver you because of you. He did that because of his own namesake. We already done went over that. He did that so you could see that he was merciful and righteous. Not because, oh, I just love you so much that I'm inspired to do something because you offended and sinned against me. I'm trying to show you that I am who I said I am, which is a merciful and gracious Elohim, forgiving sin and iniquity, but by no means clearing the guilty. But let's continue in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 3. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling, and my speech and preaching was not with enticing words of man wisdom, but in demonstration of the Ruach and of power. And your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to nothing. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery, secret information, if you would, even the hidden, which Elohim ordained before the world under our esteem, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of esteem. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor have ear heard, neither have it entered into the heart of man the things which Elohim have prepared for them that love him. But Elohim have revealed unto us by his Ruach, for the Ruach search all things, yea, the deep things of Elohim. See, a lot of people don't get the understanding of God because they don't trust in God. They don't love God, so he don't let them know it. You know what I'm talking about? When we talking about, see, it's like this here, right? I was talking to the homebody yesterday. What we discussing, that the tree of life, because I mentioned to read about the tree of life in those places, and y'all willing, we'll get to that, but this Galatians is going to supersede that. When you read that there's no tree of life in Mashiach's kingdom, but there's a tree of life in the garden and a tree of life in New Jerusalem. And you see that New Jerusalem only comes into play till what? After heaven and earth pass, which we're going to get to this in a passage in Galatians. There was no law in the garden. See, y'all already know that. Y'all been knew that. That's what I mean when dudes jump on and they hear us talk about stuff and they think, oh, he coming up with a new doctrine. No, we're not. Because by the grace of Elohim, we've been understood the tree of knowledge of good and evil is the law. So that means they didn't have a law. Why? Because there was no sin. You know what I'm talking about? And then you turn around and you look at New Jerusalem. He said till heaven and earth pass, right? The law's not going to pass. Well, when heaven and earth pass, guess what that means? The law can pass. All things are fulfilled. Elohim is all in all. Things have returned to what it was in the beginning. There is no sin. Therefore, there is no need for a law. But see, we're going to discuss the fruits of that tree. See, I got a lot of stuff in my brain. and we got to get it out. Put it on record. Y'all can smoke that. You know what I'm saying? Take it home because you look like you like to. You don't look like you like to put yours on the hill. You look like you like to take yours off the coke can. Oh, you don't know about that? Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. You don't know what a hitter is? Ah, thank the Lord. Look at that. She just as lame as she want to be. That ain't no bad thing. It is, but it ain't. See when Lil Muffin was younger, I showed her crack. And I showed her cocaine. You know why I did that? So she would know what it looked like. So if somebody offered it to her, she would know. Don't use that. See, I also told her what it would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is cocaine. This is what it will do to your body. You know what I'm saying? I've told y'all this here before, right? Man, don't hide stuff from children. Tell them the truth. You know what I'm talking about? Let them know the consequences of the choices that they make. Show it to them. Don't shelter them. Because if you shelter them and they get out there in that world, they're going to run amok. You know what I'm talking about? Because they feel like they done missed everything. You want them to be informed. Now, if you make bad decisions and you informed, that's on you. That's on you. I definitely did. I think Lil Muffin at the time, she could have been about 10, 11 years old. I said, this is crack. Don't smoke that. It's a stimulant. Make you like this here. Eyes be bugging out your head. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be high for 15 minutes. You're going to be looking for some more. You know what I'm talking about? And it better serve, because at the end of the day, when them kids go out their door, you don't know who they hanging with and what they doing. You know what I'm talking about? We just looking at, I've been watching the Wild Boop, ain't been watching. You know what I'm talking about? But we on that there with them young boys. And guess what? Them, a lot of them kids' family don't know what them kids out there doing. These boys out there selling dope. Come home, go to school, and all that. Most boys who sell dope in Florida don't keep going to school. Them niggas drop out. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas like, I'm getting. Nigga don't even be making no money for real. He just drop out. That nigga making $150 a day. You could have went to class.
You could work that Burger King or something.
Isaiah 45 and 11. Now, again, what am I focused on? Ask me of the things to come concerning my sons. Why did I read that about nobody knowing what he has prepared? What did he say in Revelation 21:7? To he that overcome, right? What he said you'll do? You'll become his son, and he'll become your what? Your Elohim. And you'll inherit all things. Who is he that overcome the world? But Yahushua HaMashiach. Who is he that is born of Elohim? But he that believed that Yahushua has overcome the world. This is our victory, even our faith. What did he tell you that them that overcome the world would get? To get to sit in his throne. That would get to eat from the hidden manna. That would rule the nations with a rod of iron and break them into pieces like a potter's vessel, even as I received of my Abba. That they would be able to take from the tree of life in the paradise of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? That they would have their name written in stone, which no man would know except him who he gave it to. These are the things that he has spoken and concerning his sons and concerning the work of his hands. These are the things. He said, ask of the things to come. Ask me about what I'm going to do for him, and I'm going to tell you. Y'all clear on that? That makes sense to you? Can you see it? Verse 12 of Isaiah 45. I have made the earth and created man upon it. My hands have stretched out Shamahim, and all the host of I commanded. I've raised him up in righteousness, and I will direct all his ways. He shall build my city. He shall let go my captives, not for price nor reward, saith Yahuwah of hosts. See, we talked about this passage before. I give you a brief one, because I got more to go in Galatians 3, and there's something in Galatians 1 that I must put on tape. Notice what he said, he raised him up in righteousness. What does that take us back to? Romans 8, that he resurrected him from the dead. He will direct all his ways. He shall build my city. Guess what he coming back to do? To rebuild Jerusalem. Who rebuilt Jerusalem the first time? Nehemiah. When did he build it? Coming out of captivity. Then he said he gonna let my captives go. If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. And he will do this not for price or reward. It wasn't, remember, what did Satan try to offer him? Price and reward. The people tried to come and make him king. It wasn't nothing they were going to be able to offer him, because you can't pay me to do what I was born to do. Remember something that Mashiach said, my kingdom is what? Not of this world. Because if it was, my servants would fight. But let's continue in Isaiah 45. Verse 14, if you would. Thus saith Yahuwah, the labor of Mizraim, the merchandise of Ethiopia, and of the Sabians, men of stature, they shall come over unto you, and they shall be yours. They shall come after you in chains. They shall come over. They shall fall down unto you. They shall make supplication unto you. Surely Elohim is in you, and none else. No Elohim. Remember what it said in Psalms 149, that you would put them in fetters of iron, and that you would have the high praises of Elohim in your mouth and a two-edged sword in your hand to execute the judgment written. Ain't that what it said? Mm-hmm. Guess what he's telling you right here? And then he said they'll all fall down under you, because every knee is going to bow and every tongue is going to confess. But not only this, but this is Revelation 3 and 9, because he said he'll do this. Let's go take a look, because you know Bruce love to point this out, but they always do it wrong. See, I praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua, because these boys trash out here, man. They selling bad work. It's horrible product. It's cut with all type of acetone and ether in it. Can't get high with this stuff. You know what I'm talking about? You're supposed to be high on the Lord. Instead, you walk around here muted. Revelation 3 and 9, if you would. Amen, Brother Reynolds. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Hashatan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. And again, they love to say that's talking about them white folks. No, sir. If you saying that you are Yahudim, that you circumcised in the heart, and you don't live by the letter, but by the Ruach, and you lying, this man say that he gonna make you of the household of Satan. And how do we know this? You are of your father, the who? The devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He wasn't talking about no white folks no 2,000 years later. He was talking about your funky behind, you lying bastard Jew. You know what I'm talking about? That's who he was talking about. He was talking about Yahudim, Israelites, lying on this man's name. And it need to be told, it need to be broadcasted. Stop lying on that man. I'll read again. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Hashatan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. And before I will make them come and worship before your feet, to know that I have loved you. Because you have kept my word of patience, I will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world and them that dwell upon the earth. See, there's another place in Isaiah that talk about that. You know what I'm talking about? That talk about that. People ridicule you, get rid of you. These people be lying. Talking about they are God. You lying bastard. You know what I'm talking about? Why you think this man told you they'll put you out of their synagogues and kill you and think they do Elohim service? Don't y'all realize one of the main reasons they wanted to kill Paul? Because he was promoting faith over the law, and that's why they wanted to kill him. I done told you this before, man, because the little homie said that earlier. You got niggas who just started walking with Yahuwah, allegedly. Just started opening up the book, think they know more than man who has a testimony that he was trained at the feet of Gamaliel, a man who was skilled in the law, and then also taught the gospel by Yahushua himself. And these niggas think they know more than him. You know what I'm talking about? And all because that you have angst, vitriol in your heart for the Christian church. Hey, man, let that junk go, man. How? I ain't never seen so many grown men butthurt in many different areas in their life. This junk is shameful. This junk shameful. Bunch of grown men whining, moaning, and complaining, upset by every doggone thing. Do you need a Midol, nigga? You got some Midol? Any of you ladies got some Midol for these brothers because they need some? You got some, Michael? You got some, Boot? Boot said, I don't use such things. You got something, Lisa? It's weak. But what you need? That nigga say bump some Midol, nigga. Let's go to the real dope. That nigga said, I need some ibuprofen. What's that?
Oh, I think she said it's a joke. I thought she it's not.
It worked for you, huh?
No, I thought she was saying it's a joke because I saw her pump like 3 of them at once. Don't tell my business.
Oh, you a pill popper?
No, I just popper.
Would you like a popper? Oh, you don't know what that is. Don't want me telling my business thing. Nigga, you act like you took a Percocet, nigga.
Yeah, ibuprofen.
It's already established that you said ibuprofen. I'm just saying, I ain't on no Percocets.
I didn't even know you could take that many at once.
You ain't supposed to. I was already gonna get to that. That's not safe. Ain't no low dosage. You trying to give yourself an aneurysm. Nah, you ain't gonna get high. You gonna feel bad. He said you on them Xannies?
See, that's how I tell you. That's right.
He talking about you. Me?
No,
No, that man just said that. You just took credit for it. So. See, all of them. Let's come back to Isaiah. She ain't sorry. She meant it. She meant every word. Isaiah 45. Let me finish this off, man. Oh, we ain't gonna never get finished with Galatians. I don't know why I thought I was gonna zoom through chapter 3 in its entirety anyway, but some of it we done touched before. Boop, you over there eating broccoli? You over there eating broccoli? Huh? She trying to take her food, just like you like to do, huh? Oh. 45 and 15. Isaiah 45 and 15, by the way. Truly you are Elohim that hides yourself, O Elohim of Yasharal, the Savior. They shall be ashamed and also confounded. All of them, they shall go to confusion together, makers of idols. But Yasharal shall be saved in Yahuwah with an everlasting salvation. You shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. For thus saith Yahuwah that created Shamahim, Elohim himself that formed the earth and made it. He have established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I, Yahuwah, and none else. You notice how he say what he made the earth for? To be what? Inhabited. That's why you see him making a new heaven and a new earth, because he made it to be dwelt on. And when you're looking at new heaven and new earth, of course, it's going to be Kadash, a refreshed thing. Let me verify that in Hebrew for you. I'm going to come over here to Isaiah 65 and 66, where it's referenced in the prophets. Matter of fact, Isaiah 65 and 66 is the only place that explicitly details a new heaven and a new earth with verbiage, if you would. So when you look at new heaven, and of course that is exactly what it is. It's Kadash. It is a new thing. It is a fresh thing. Remember what he said in Revelation? I make all things what? New. You know what I'm talking about? So guess what this meaning? The earth and the heavens get born again, just like you got to be born again. You have to be new, refreshed, something different, if you would. What was else we had? We had Isaiah. I'm good in Isaiah 45. Let's go back to Galatians chapter 3. Shalom, brother Shaul. I thought you had already did that. You know, thank the Lord, man, because understanding is a beautiful thing. And brother Shaul, I seen what you got, man, but I can't do nothing because my PayPal account frozen, so I can't really make no moves in that regard when it comes to that. Let's look at verse 3 of Galatians chapter 3. Are you so foolish, having begun in the Ruach? Are you now made perfect by the flesh? Have you suffered so many things in vain? If it be yet in vain, he therefore that ministered to you the Ruach and worked miracles among you, by the works of the law or by hearing of faith. Now, miracles in the text. How many people you seen work a miracle in the text by the law? Who can you tell me work miracles in the text by faith? You can name them by name in the chat, and you can raise your hand in the clubhouse if you choose to name them also. I mean, if you're in the clubhouse, you can interact. You ain't gotta sit back here for off in the cut. Moses did work miracles, and there was no law involved. It was all by faith. Who else can you think of work miracles? Notice what he said. Did you? He that's Elijah. That was all by faith. And your 1 Kings 17. He said, get it what? Did they do it by the works of the law or by hearing of faith? See, when Brews hear that, they get pissed off. But I'm telling you, go examine the text. We just looked at 3 different things. Examine the text. You don't see nobody in the text who was justified by keeping the law. Every person you seen justified by Yahuwah himself, it was by faith. Every single solitary one. Lot was justified because of his faith. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he was able to be delivered out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham, before you see anything about law with Abraham, Yahuwah justified him by faith 3 times. You know what I'm talking about? What's going on, Rohan? 3 times. You see that. The sons of Jacob literally came out of Egypt because of faith. No law involved. Then we just talked about who do you see receiving the Spirit by works of the law or by hearing the faith. Every person you see that Spirit rested upon was because of faith. Every single solitary one. The 70, the men who prophesied in the camp in Numbers, that was by faith. There was no law involved. You know what I'm talking about? There was no law involved. There was nothing about that because this was a precursor to let you know that you don't receive the Ruach HaKodesh by the law, but by faith. And you got Brews who walk around here teaching people that you receive the Spirit by keeping the law. And boy, that's the book don't bear witness to your false teaching. Because it don't say that nowhere. You know what I'm talking about? But see, they think that when they read Paul's letters or you go to talk about that this is a new doctrine. No, nigga, this is what was told from the beginning, but you too stupid to get it. And you too stupid to get it because your teachers suck, your elders suck, your pastor sucks. They all trash. You know what I'm talking about? They dope as trash, and clearly Yahuwah has not sent them because they're not teaching the doctrine of heaven. That is not what this man has taught you from the time that he has made himself known unto you. He ain't taught you no junk by he gonna justify you by no law. He ain't taught you that damn time. You know what I'm talking about? Because truth be told, keeping the man's law is the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum. You ain't special because you did that, nigga. That's what you supposed to did. See, that's you the type of nigga feel like your people supposed to gave you a treat because you did your homework, nigga. You the type of nigga felt like you should have been rewarded for cleaning your room because you ain't get in trouble in school. You ain't supposed to get in trouble. I got an A in class. Nigga, A is the standard. You ain't special because you got an A. You see, the reason why your people would offer you money would be incentives for you to perform. But that should have been the standard. A should be the standard. You know what I'm talking about? You shouldn't feel special because you excelled. You should have excelled. You know what I'm talking about? But see, guess what they tell you? As long as you get some B's and C's, see, you get raised to be mediocre. You know what I'm talking about? So that when you actually do what you should have been doing, you think you've done something special. When really you've done what you're supposed to do. You're not special because you did your job. That's like, I take care of my kids. So what? You're supposed to. You don't get no credit for that. I pay my bills. I would hope so. What you got there? So I was just watching an old video when them dudes that was outside the camp was an example how to. Yep. That definitely is. It definitely is. See, we don't like to hear stuff like that. Keeping the man's law is the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum. You ain't did nothing. Not nothing of note. You know why you want to keep that law? You know why they boy just and Paul wrote about it. You want to talk about it so you can say that he owe you. See, I did all this here that you owe me. But see, just like when Yahushua told them, see, the publicans and the harlots going to get in before you because John came in the way of righteousness or the way of faith and they believed him. See, when you deal with faith, ain't nothing, you ain't sitting back saying you owe me. You saying I owe you. So therefore, I'm submitting to you because I wronged you. You don't owe me for nothing. You don't notice every time they came when Yahushua mentioned about like with the rich man when he talking about what law, and then he took it a step further where they had to deal with faith, and the boys couldn't do it because that's an example. The rich man is an example that the law won't justify you, faith will. He ain't go home justified. because he didn't want to believe. See, we get told the whole time it was about his money. It wasn't about his money. It's the fact he ain't trusting God. He ain't trusting God enough to walk away from what he had to be able to come serve God and know that there was a reward waiting for him. He ain't had that type of hope and expectation to receive. He just thought these commandments was enough. You mean to tell me it's more? Oh, I can't go that far. I trust in you, but I can't go that far. Now, that's just too far. Forsake everything I got and roam and preach the word, and I'll be rewarded later? But I can't see that reward. I'm going home sad. Because he knew I'm going to hell. He knew right then I ain't trusting God like that. I'm going to hell. But you know what? It is what it is. See, y'all don't think that people walk off or walk away from you who know they going to hell. They know they going. They just accepting the fact that they going to burn. That's a sad state of affairs. Let's continue in Galatians chapter 3. Look at verse 6. Even as Abraham believed Elohim, and it was counted to him for righteousness, know you therefore that they which are of faith are the same as the children of Abraham. Pause. Now we're going to come over here to Galatians chapter 4. Just come over a bit. This is what they were arguing about in this room. And the Christian had it right, but he had it wrong because he ain't had no proper understanding. 4:21, listen to what it say. Tell me, you that desire to be under the law, do you not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman by promise. Now, y'all know this, right? How did Ishmael get here? Boop, tell him how Ishmael got here for 200. Because Sarah couldn't have, but guess what though? Yahuwah had already told them that they would have a child, yes or no? He had already told them that. So that's why that was of the flesh. Now let's take a pause for the calls to John 8:30 on the house. $8:30. 8:31 is better. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him, if you continue in my word, are you my disciples indeed? And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Then they answered, we be Abraham's seed. We've never been in bondage to any man. How say you shall be made free? Yahushua answered them, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. The servant abide not in the house forever, the son abide forever. If the son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. Now, y'all know that that's meaning that the servant of sin does not abide. That's referring to Ishmael. He was removed because he was of the free woman, or he was of the flesh. Romans 9 on general principle, before we return back to Galatians chapter 3. Now, of course, this is going to reference Jacob and Esau, but nevertheless, 9 and 6. Not as though the word of Elohim have taken none effect, for they not all Yasharal, which are of Yasharal. See, you should know this from the wilderness. Because who's the only ones who believe but Caleb and Yahushua son of Nun? They were all of Jacob's seed, but they were not of Elohim because they all did not believe. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That's the promise that was made to him, right? Only in Isaac. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the sons of Elohim. Guess what? Those that are of the law are not the sons of Elohim. That's going to offend somebody. But the sons of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only, but when Rebekah also conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil for the purpose of Elohim, according to the election, might stand, not of works, but of him that called. See, that's where that boiled down with Saul and David. It wasn't of works, but of him that called. That's why that comes down to faith. is forefathers, him receiving the Spirit, because it was nothing that David had done. It was the fact that Yahuwah called him. See, Yahuwah didn't call Saul. You know what I'm talking about? See, even, let me put it to you this way, just for a level of understanding. Saul and David can be compared to the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. Ishmael and Isaac can be compared to the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life, because Isaac was called, because David was called. And the tree that was called by Yahuwah was the tree that he said they could eat freely from, and they declined. When you sit back and you look at Saul and Ishmael, they were both of the flesh, meaning they were not of the promise. You know what I'm saying? There was a promise of life with the tree of life, and they turned it down. Jacob and Esau also as well as an example of the tree of knowledge and good and evil and the tree of life, because Jacob was called. That was all of Elohim. That was all of faith. There was no law, no nothing involved. Nothing. See, that's what brothers don't want to deal with. When you talking about being chosen, there's no law involved. Moses didn't keep no law to be chosen. That's not involved. You don't find that anywhere. David conceived a child of sin. That child was killed. And then he told him, you're going to have a son with that same woman, and I'm going to pick him. And you know what that happened when he did that with Solomon? You know what that created between David and his other son, right? Do you know, Michael? Drinking on that golden peak. Drinking on peak. Boo, tell her what happened with Solomon and his brother because Yahuwah chose him. You remember? Animosity. You remember which brother it was? That's it. That's the one. But you know why there was animosity? Because Adonijah was supposed to sit on the throne, not Solomon. And he got bucked for the one that Yahuwah had chosen. And guess what? Solomon was chosen from the womb. It was absolutely nothing that he had done. No law involved. No law involved. You know what I'm talking about? Can't find a note. I could go for days with this here, man, and niggas will be offended, thinking that you telling people not to keep the law. We're telling you to put your hope in Elohim, you jackass, but you too stupid to realize that. No, because these niggas need to know. He needs to know. That jumped funny to me. I watched that scene just over and over again. Because that nigga, that was some good acting. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobbitt. Don't you wish that evil on me. He told me, don't do that. He told me how tough love it is. He needs to know. What?
No, you need to hear this.
No, he need to hear. Oh, that was cool, but it wasn't like what Michael Duncan did. Because he was animated with it. Don't you put that evil? He told me, I hope your son knows what. Don't you wish that evil on me, Ricky Bobby? Don't you put that evil on me? At no time is anybody telling you not to keep this man's instructions. One thing that I want you to be able to understand, right? When it said Yahushua began to preach the gospel and he said, repent, what did he say was at hand? Of what? Kingdom of Elohim, kingdom of heaven. He was telling you the dominion and rule of eternity. And when you're thinking about eternity, and I only reference that for one reason. Where do you see Yahushua walking around telling them people to keep the law and what's written? Not that he asked people if they kept, because remember, the rich man got set up and didn't know he set himself up. He said, what shall I do to inherit life? He said, keep the commandments. He said, I've done all these. And guess what? Yahushua took it after that. He said, if you will be what? Perfect. He took it past that. See, he set him up. And of course, they came to him and asked him what the greatest commandment was. And what's the first one he told them? The one that means to believe in Yahuwah. But examine it for yourself. Go read what he's sitting around telling people you shouldn't commit adultery. He took it past that and told you you ain't got no business looking on another man's wife, lusting after her, for you end up like David, sleeping with a man's wife and killing him for it. You know what I'm talking about? See, he took it past that. If you ever notice when he mentioned an instruction, he take it past that to show you the intent of how you ought to behave. You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm gonna put it to you this way. He taught the law without telling you that he was teaching the law. Only those with ears and eyes are gonna understand that. You know what I'm talking about? But you think he was walking around teaching people don't eat a dietary law? I mean, to keep them people already had the law. Why would he do that? He was trying to open them up to eternity, and they rejected it. You know what I'm saying? And why do you think it would be any different now? Adam and Eve rejected eternity in the garden, man. They rejected that. They said the law was better. I just want y'all to understand that. And truth be told, anybody who's been around here for an extended period of time has known that this is what we have preached from day one. We ain't just start doing this year. You know how some people be like, oh man, dudes get new doctrines off. Our doctrine has been consistent. Praise you, Lord. It has not changed. By the grace of Elohim, we just get more and more understanding. But the fundamentals have remained the same. It has not changed. Has it changed in your time? You sure? You just saying that because you're sitting in my house? Why you look like you've been smoking a marijuana? You saw the doobie in the car?
No, I think my eyes just look like that. And it's the glasses that take them off.
Man, you know I seen a little girl, 5 years old, 4 years old, wore glasses. I didn't even think it was possible.
She had a little strap on back.
No, she got regular glasses, pretty stylish. No strap. I didn't think niggas' eyes could be that bad that young.
Yeah, you for sure.
I've seen this young as toddlers.
Babies?
Yes, that's how they got the strap. They have the strap on the back of their head to keep the glasses on.
I ain't never seen a baby with no
They
glasses.
look like toy glasses.
That's why they have to test your eyes before you leave. They need to see if you got the strength to see. If your baby can't see, then
Young as her.
Yeah, they have a strap on. If your mom and dad have them, you probably want to wear it as a child.
I mean, I got my first pair of glasses when I was 9. But I had never seen a 4-year-old with glasses. Definitely never seen a baby.
Yeah.
They thought my baby was going to be cross-eyed, but her eyes straightened out. They were a little cross. Well, she had to get focused, you know what I'm saying? Get used to the outside world. Says lights and hearing people. Now she just be looking for a mama. And then when she found her, that's why she couldn't find her mama. When she found her mama, they straightened out. You know what I'm saying? Took her probably about 2 weeks. She was definitely cross-eyed though. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Come on over to Galatians 3 again. Verse 7. Know you therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. And the scripture foreseeing that Elohim would justify the heathen through faith, preached the gospel unto Abraham, saying, and you shall all the nations be blessed. So then they which be of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. For many are the works of the law, for as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone that continue not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. But then no man is justified by the law in the sight of Elohim. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. See, we discussed that last week. So when you just see this man say that? Because we just read the other day what it said. There'll be the knowledge of my righteous servant will justify many. And we just went through this with scriptural examples that nobody in the text is justified by keeping the law. You can't read it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about literal example. Not Jephthah, not Gideon, not Samson. You don't read nowhere about no law. With none of them. Can we continue? Was Hezekiah justified by the law? Or was it because even when Ahab, with all the wickedness he did, when he humbled himself and repented at the hearing of the wrath that was coming on his head, Yahuwah forgave him and said, I won't do it in your time. It wasn't no law. Even with Manasseh, when he put him into prison, wasn't no law involved. That's not to say that these men did not keep a law at some point in time, except for Ahab. You know what I'm talking Because Manasseh lived all type of way. Of course, Manasseh is an example of somebody who was a sinner and Yahuwah redeeming him. But that's another conversation for another day. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm just pointing out, we could go for days. Who you read when he be like, he sure did keep a lot of law. Even with Job, you seen that Job ended up being justified because of his faith. And then what got him caught up is that he believed he was so righteous and he justified himself instead of justifying Elohim. But he only did that because he was trying to prove something to his wicked friends. Nisha, what made Job's friends so wicked in the eyesight of Yahuwah? Monte, help out. She's struggling. No, not Job's friends. What made Job's friends wicked in the eyesight of Yahuwah, Monte? I said his friends.
Was that so? They was on. I remember they was on a boat.
No, they wasn't on no boat.
I just remember.
Michael, what made Job's friends? Look at you. You called me. What made Job's friends evil in the sight of Yahuwah? In the sight of Yahuwah. That nigga don't know. Go on and help him out, boo.
Wait, this was in the beginning of Job, correct?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
You know what made Job's friends evil in the sight of Yahuwah, boo?
No, what I'm thinking about is what made Joe evil.
Y'all niggas slacking on your macking.
I think it's in.
Because they do too, and they trying to turn him against him.
I think it's in Job too.
Which one of you brothers can tell me what made Job's friends evil in the sight of Yahuwah? Which one of you brothers and sisters in this clubhouse can tell me what made Job's friends evil in the sight of Yahuwah? That was Job. I'm gonna help y'all out because y'all is destitute and bereft. Nah, you can't start at 12.
No, chapter 2.
You can't start at 2 either because Job's friends ain't even in chapter 2.
You sure?
I'm positive.
It says Job's friends.
His 3 friends that spoke to him.
Yeah.
You know where you want to find this answer at?
Job 12.
Job 42. And Lil Johnny has gotten the answer.
Oh,
That was his wife that told him to curse God, Bella. Nah, the thought that he had sinned because of his tribulations. They were accusing this man of being a sinner with no evidence to back that up. They were saying that he was a sinner based on what was happening to him. I'll read that in Job 42. That's right. Say it, got it. They accused. They played the role of the devil. See, if you hadn't sinned, ain't nothing like this ever happened to no righteous man. Look at you. Wicked bastard. See, you have to be careful of that because, see, I'm going to tell you something, right? Some things that happen to people, it happened to them because they done wickedness. And some things happen to people to test their faith. And the only thing what happened with Job, guess what? And Job wasn't justified by no law in this situation. It was strictly his faith. Because everything that happened to Job, this is why I tell people this here, man. The law can't get you through what Job got through. Your faith in Yahuwah, the only thing can get you through that. The law can't get you through that. Thou shalt not eat a pig's back. How that going to get you through that? That's your baby. Job 42:7. And it was so that after you had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against you and against your 2 friends, for you have not spoken of me as my servant Job. See, now they got you have not spoken the thing that is right as my servant Job, but that's not there. Therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks, 7 rams, go to my servant Job, offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, that you have that you have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite and Bildad the Shuhite and Zophar the Naamathite went and did as Yahuwah commanded them, and Yahuwah also accepted Job. And also with his friends, what they did is that they stated that Yahuwah operated with false balances. Because in their haste, see, this is where people get caught up at. In their haste to condemn Job, they were condemning Yahuwah. Because notice, even though Job was righteous in his own eyes, and he was justifying himself instead of being, and the only reason he did that is he got caught up in the accusations of his friends. See, if he would have did what Jacob did and let his righteousness speak for him, he wouldn't have. See, that's how Job got caught up. See, Job only became righteous in his own eyes because he felt like he had to prove something to these people who were accusing him instead of just being quiet. That's why I tell y'all, don't say nothing to them niggas. Let them run their mouth. Boop, you eating ice cream? Joanne, you heard me call you. You want to turn your head all slow. I should make you come back over here. Joanne, I don't like the fact that you ignore me. Turn your head when I'm talking to you. You're rude, baby. Look at you.
What?
You want to talk? You was ready.
I ain't said nothing.
Your face said it.
My mouth did.
But your heart did. I seen it in your
My
eyes.
heart. That's just in my mind.
Same difference. You see this, y'all, what I got to deal with? I'm finna get a new mama and a build a baby. Build a new baby. Oh, now you want to acknowledge me when I say I'm gonna get a build a baby. You ain't right, boo. And bigger boo. She a plate, you a bigger plate. That's what they said at the Panda, right? She a plate, you a bigger plate. Yes. Huh? What'd you say? Well, that's apparent. All y'all niggas can go. You said that like I was gonna be like, yeah, Muffin, you sure can stay.
You might want to stay.
No, she can get on your back right on up out of here.
She ain't did that. I put her away.
I ain't putting you away. You just can't stay here.
I didn't say nothing about you. Come on.
Shoot. I told her we got to get a build a baby too. That nigga looking at you like, boy, nigga, shoot me a fade. You don't get no smile from that baby. Now she got you a unit. Shoot me that fade, cuz. Where we at? Galatians 3, verse 12. Listen what it say. And the law is not of faith, but the man that do them shall live in them. Mashiach have redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hang on a tree. Of course, you know he redeemed us from death. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, believe it or not, the law is not of faith. The law is not a promise. The law is order. It is not of faith. There's nothing to be promised about you shall not covet. You shall not, you know what I'm saying? What promise is that? See, again, let me take that back because we're going to do this. We seen a promise in Deuteronomy 24:5 on Wednesday, but you would need understanding. Because see, we didn't search Deuteronomy 24:5 to say, see this, that, and the third. It was to show you the millennial reign. You know what I'm talking about? How about this one here? The putting away in divorce. You know, it's a promise of Yahuwah contained in that. You know what that promise is? Instead of me killing you, I put you away so I can come back and redeem you later and take you back unto myself. Because he created a means to bring his banished back unto them. See, if you're not going up, if you're not going through the law in order to see, because we're about to get to it, that the schoolmaster, if you ain't doing that, you just a sinner. And that's all I got to say about that. Verse 14, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Ruach through faith. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men. Though but a man's covenant be confirmed, no man disannul or add thereto. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He said, and to seeds as of many, but of one, and to that's to your seed, which is Hamashiach. And this I say, the covenant that was confirmed before of Elohim and Hamashiach, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. What did that mean? The promise that Yahuwah made to Abraham, the law wasn't going to change that promise. That is a fact, Rohan. Do y'all understand that? He made a promise to Abraham that in Isaac your seed shall be called, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed because of you. And that was 400 plus years afterwards was the law given. The faith was before the law. That's what people don't understand. It's before that, and you trying to hang on to it instead of grabbing on to faith. There's nothing wrong with keeping the law, but you can't hold on to the law and just say bump faith. See, people think, this is the problem. I've said this for years also. Christians think that screw the law, I got faith. Hebrews think, screw faith, I got the law. When really you should have faith, and because you have faith, it will produce obedience to the law. Because how could you have trust and hope in someone who is superior to you and you submit unto them, but you don't keep the order that they have for their household? That don't even make sense. Don't even make sense. But you know what that shows? That a lot of these niggas are their mama's son and not their daddy's son. You know what that means? You know what that means, boo? We say you your mama's son. Clearly you your mama's son and not your daddy's son. What that mean? You were raised by your mammy. You your mama's son. And a lot of these brothers out here, they their mama's son. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't your daddy's son, because if you was your daddy's son, you wouldn't behave like this. You know what I'm talking about? I tell you, that's why a lot of brothers fall off from the word. That's why a lot of brothers fall off from the gospel, because they ain't grabbed hold of nothing to hold on to. I'm telling you, boy, when these boys go through some tribulation and persecution, man, light go to hitting them, boy, that law don't do nothing for them. They don't do nothing for him. Job lost everything he had, kids and all. Wife you lost your wife too because she telling you to curse God. What the law gonna do for you then? You know what his response was? Yahuwah give, Yahuwah take it away. You speak like one of them foolish women. Only faith can make you say that. You thinking about, oh, I sure ain't eat that shellfish the other night. That ain't gonna make you say that. I sure kept a mean Sabbath last week. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, what's so like my brother Ariel said earlier, man. It really ain't hard to stop doing anything that's in that man law. Ain't nothing hard about it. That's why the Apostle John wrote, his commandments are not grievous. Ain't nothing hard in there at all. When you sit back and you look at it, it don't be like people, oh, it's so hard. It's only hard because deep down in your soul, you don't believe it and you don't have a desire to do it. You know what I'm talking about? But when you talk about fundamentally, there's nothing difficult about it. Don't eat this. Don't do that. Don't lie on a nigga. Look at the other stuff it mentioned in there. Don't run with people to do evil. You know what I'm talking about? Don't participate in false reports. What you don't even realize is what he's telling you is how to be an honorable man. None of that stuff is difficult. But the faith part, see, that's difficult. And you know why it's difficult? Because you can't see him. You got to trust him on the word. And most people, they just don't view people that strongly enough to trust them on the word. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm talking about trust him on the word, even though it seems like it won't be fulfilled while you going through whatever you're going through. Remember, that's what it said, that Paul wrote what he said with Abraham, that Abraham believed that Yahuwah called things that were not as they were. And then you had to wait for it. You know what I'm talking about? See, there's a difference when you can sit there the same way that Yahushua knew that, oh, nah, man, y'all can't go where I'm going. Or I'll see you when I get up in 3 days. Destroy this temple and I'll build it back in 3 days. He's saying something that he cannot see, and he's calling it as if it had already happened in my face. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's a whole nother thing. Or like what Yahushua told his apostles, I tell you these things before they happen, so when they come to pass, you may know that I am he. See, that's a whole different type of deal. See, when you go to talk about that faith, people's hearts go to get punched and kicked and all that type of deal. Because now you got to be examined. That's why he say perfect love cast out fear, because fear have torment. That's why I told y'all, if you got something going on, don't call me and ask me for no verse. Don't text me and ask me for no verse. You might as well just call me and we can have a conversation, and then the word can flow, and then you can be able to get what you need, because that verse ain't going to do nothing for you. That ain't going to strengthen your faith. You just read a word on the page. Did you even understand it? Or did you just want some false, what you call it, a placebo to make you feel better in the moment? With any time you feel tribulation or angst or any type of deal, you're supposed to think upon Yahuwah and think upon that which is pure and think upon that which is good and think upon that which is just. And therefore, you won't be anxious for anything. You know what I'm talking about? But see, we don't like to do that, because that means you have to trust in God. But Elohim is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. The strength of Yasharal is not a man. Let's continue in Galatians chapter 3. Verse 18. For if the inheritance of the law, if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but Elohim gave it to Abraham by promise. Did not Yahushua give you a kingdom by promise? Or did he give it to you by the law? He told you that you would inherit a kingdom. Let's take a look. Matthew chapter 6. I believe.
The new heaven,
Huh?
the new earth and the new heaven.
That's a part of it. Yes, sir. That's a part of it. Because your inheritance is the land, is the kingdom. See, your forefathers got the inheritance. Their inheritance was the land. Your inheritance is New Jerusalem. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. After that, I think I want Luke 12, I believe. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where the moth, moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in Shamahim, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Is your heart in heaven, or is your heart in the earth? Is your heart with God? Remember, right? He said, their God is their belly. They mind earthly things. You know what Satan was cursed to go about? On his belly. You know what I'm talking about? Why? Because he minded earthly things. See, that's why he told Nicodemus, if I've told you of earthly things and you don't understand, why would I tell you of heavenly things? See, the things that be of eternal, most people don't want to hear because they're too carnal. Oh, when he said, if you would have believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Yeah. But you believe not my, you don't believe his writing, so you're not going to believe my words. You're not going to believe nothing I have to say. Come over here to Luke chapter 12. Verse 30. That's why when you see that, when he tell you to seek the kingdom of Elohim and to not be concerned with this life, because he said that's what the Gentiles see. But y'all already know this here, man. Most of our people want to be Caucasian. And not because they want to be Caucasian for the simple fact of being Caucasian. They want what they perceive to be what Caucasians have. Not understanding it's just their time to rule. See, lady in the pt5 group asked this question, something about white supremacy. And I'm like, baby, what kingdom in the history of mankind have you ever seen the superior people make the people under them equal to them? What's wrong with you? Nobody does that. You know what I'm saying? Only black people in America feel like you're supposed to be equal in a country. You stupid. You know what I'm talking about? I told her that straight up and down. Nowhere in recorded human history has that ever happened. When you in the kingdom of Yasharal, it says Solomon ruled with an iron fist. and that anybody that was not of the seed of Yasharal, guess what they had to do, Michael? They had to pay taxes. They had to pay. And then guess who they had to pay more than? They had to pay more than Israel. That's why Yahushua said in Matthew 17, who do they take tribute from? Children or strangers? And what did Peter say? Strangers. He said, then the children are free. Uh-oh. You know what I'm talking about? And guess who got to pay when you come into Jerusalem? Guess who got to pay? You know who got to pay? Strangers. Because the children are free. Y'all don't recall all them verses that we done read where it said them people gonna bring their wealth and all that stuff into it? Because they got to pay. Strangers got to pay. Guess what? Gentiles, Hamites, whatever the case may be, could be in the kingdom of God. But guess what they won't be with you? Equal. They won't be governors. They won't be rulers. They can't be a part of the 144,000, which will rule with Mashiach during his millennial reign. Not a single Gentile's name is on them 12 gates. They all apostles and they all Israelites. And that has nothing to do with them people or anything. It has to deal with, guess what our law say? You ain't even supposed to set nobody who's not an Israelite as a king or have any authority above you. You know what I'm talking about? And guess what? If them people turn around and do it, they ain't wrong. Why would a Chinese man turn around and say, hey, black man, rule over us? That don't make common sense. Why would a white man turn around and say, you know what? They colonized it. So what? You think they the first group of people to colonize the country? What's wrong with you niggas, man? Where y'all been living at? You ain't never read. So I guess you ain't getting nothing. Genghis Khan colonized. He wasn't white. I don't see you walking around him calling him a colonizer. You know what I'm talking about? What about the Ottoman Turks? What about the Moors? They walked around here colonizing. Why you don't call them a colonizer? Because they did the same thing. They came into a land and they subdued it and they ruled it. You know what I'm talking about? Guess what? Ain't that's what Nebuchadnezzar did? Did Nebuchadnezzar have, listen, right? Did he have Israelites working up on them? But guess what? Who put Daniel there? Yahuwah. But at the end of the day, were they able to, as a people, see, this is the part you don't look at. As a people, was the Israelites equal to the Babylonians? No. Just because you had an Israelite in power does not mean that the people were equal to the ruling people of that land. That doesn't happen. Who does that? I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a woman's frame of mind. I only say that because I just seen an old bussy nigga talking about, because, you know, they running that junk where that lady said, if that was LeBron, he would have been home. Well, number one, LeBron would have been stupid enough to put hashish oil in a cartridge in his luggage.
Why would he go overseas and play? Why would he need to?
See, no, this is why they kept coming with that. See, she got to go over there and play basketball because she don't make enough money. But I'm going to show you. This is the entitlement of a woman in the United States of America. She make $220,000 a year playing basketball. You're in the top 5% of earners in the country. You only play 40 games. You don't have the applicable television revenue. If the NBA did not hold up your company, it would have already been extinct and there would be no league, because nobody wants to watch bulldaggers play basketball. Do you know what I'm talking about? Number two, the main reason why it falters, because a lot of dudes say women need to support it. Contrary to popular belief, women do not like sports. They only like sports because men are involved. And they only like that the men are involved because they like men, they don't like women. You know what I'm talking about? I don't have a desire to look at women because I am not sexually attracted to women. When I watch basketball or football, I see physically fit men whom I find attractive. You know what I'm talking about? I am not enamored with the innate doings of the pick and roll. I do not care about a triangle offense. I do not care about 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end and a running back. I do not care about him splitting going past the linebacker to fall into the hole of the cover 2. I do not care. Now, some women do like to enjoy it for the sport of it all, but at the end of the day, women do not care for sports. They are not a driver for sports. You know what I'm talking about? That is a men-dominated deal. Most women do not sit around and watch the pregame show, the game, the name after that, and all the highlights and the talk shows that come on after that discussing what they watched the day before. You know what I'm talking about? Contrary to popular belief, nobody cares about Brittany Griner. And guess what? That funky hoe was talking all that trash about America, and then she wrote a letter to Sleepy Joe talking about, please get me out of jail. I voted for you.
I told her she better ask A$AP Rocky and Most Def.
Most Def still can't come back over here. That nigga been banished for damn near 10 years.
Change his name and all.
That nigga named Yasin Bey. That man been out the country. He can't come back. That nigga somewhere in the East. Somewhere in the East. I don't know where that nigga at, but he can't come back here. I know that.
He was at a fashion show in I think Paris.
I know he pretty much denounced his citizenship. He can't come back over here. But he don't want to, so it doesn't matter. Then you got old Taraji P. Henson, bad bitch, bad body behind, talking about she want to move out the country, talking about guns got more rights than a woman's womb. That's why I hate all these hoes. You know what I'm talking about? You know you got to be a raggedy hoe to be upset because you can't kill a baby. You funky slut hoe, you. But it ain't even the point. But see, this is the thing, though, that a lot of young men should consider, what a lot of women don't consider who have sons. When they hear their mama talking about that, you know what might click in that baby's mind? It'll click in a little girl's mind a little quicker. Did you think about killing me?
Yeah, I didn't want you.
You know what I'm talking about? Did you think about killing me? That's what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to tell you what's real now. I mean, people support rich, wicked people, Rohan, to be honest with you, because they desire to be in their place. A lot of these niggas would look a dog's booty hole to be able to live the lifestyle that some of these people live. You know what I'm talking about? Some have, definitely. At the end of the day, everybody don't elevate it to it. That's why a lot of them join fraternities and sororities, black or white, and suffer that humiliation for the opportunity, for the networking opportunities that could arise, for the chance that they can live the lifestyle that they see people live on TV. That's why people do that. You know what I'm saying? That's why people do that. That's why people subject themselves to that type of humiliation, just from the off chance that I could live that lifestyle. But it's the lifestyle of the devil. You know what I'm talking about? And you can't be upset about that because the Lord has already told you they received their reward. What you? It's the devil's music. It's the devil's lifestyle. You know why we know it's the devil's lifestyle? Because it appeals to lust. Anything that appeals to lust and appeals to the flesh is not of God. Remember, he said, who have persuaded? He said, this persuasion don't come from him that called. Most people would rather have money and status and a quote unquote rich lifestyle than to have Yahuwah. Because you can't have all those things that the wealthy and famous can have and serve Yahuwah. That's why I be laughing at these niggas when they be talking about, oh, these brothers waking up and they famous. There's no way they could do it because they would have to walk away. They would have to forsake it. They wouldn't be able to serve Yahuwah and be in that lifestyle at the same time. And you trying to steal the little nigga blanket? I see you steal because you took your time with that. So you a thief. You a car thief.
We was watching the bad boy thing, the documentary, and it was interesting. Mason was saying like it was things that I said I wouldn't gonna do, and things I said I wouldn't do, and Puff kept coming to me like, but remember you got to do it if you want it. If you want it bad enough, you do it. He was like, every time I would say like I ain't gonna do that, it was things I said I wouldn't do. He reminded me like, but you. If you want to be the best, you'll do it. And we was just like, dang, like you really just on TV saying like you compromise all your standards because this man kept telling you, but remember, if you won't be bad enough, you will do it. And you said I don't want to do something.
I mean, you hear a lot of them say they did stuff that they ain't want to do because at the end of the day, they wanted the money more. That's what Dave Chappelle was like when his daddy told him if the price get too high, get out of there. And he was like, then I went to Africa. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm telling you, man. That's why I've told you all this for years, and you can do what you want. You should not push your children to athletics in no shape, form, or fashion. You know what I'm talking about? You should not push your children to entertainment in any shape, form, or fashion. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're pushing them right into the devil's bosom. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't care what you think, but you'll find out one way or another. Don't push your children in the. At that point, you might as well just go ahead and drop them all to the Church of Satan and say, here you go, take it. Because that's what you're doing. Because if you're going to achieve at a high level in those fields, you must compromise the word of Yahuwah to do it. Now, I'm not saying you got to give your booty hole up or nothing like that there, but you're going to have to go against Yahuwah to get here. And there's no way around it. And it's not to say that these people aren't talented. It's not to say that these people don't work hard, but these people pick and choose who's going to be stars and who they give a lot of money to. And you're going to have to compromise yourself. This junk is for entertainment. It ain't real. Don't get caught up in no fault. When somebody tell you they trying to stir the narrative, you know a narrative is a part of a story. And stories are fiction. Don't let these people make no fool out you. You know what I'm talking about? This stuff ain't real, man. The only thing real is Yahuwah. When I say real, meaning it's not genuine. It's not authentically what you're viewing. Rohan say that boy detained in South Africa on a Janny passport. I don't know what that is. Luke chapter 12, though, verse 29. And seek not what you shall eat, what you shall drink, neither be you of a doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Abba know that you have need of these things. Rather seek you the Malkuth of Elohim, and these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Abba's good pleasure to give you the Malkuth, or the dominion. It's your Father's desire for you to reign in Jerusalem. Come on back to Galatians chapter 3. I'm going to grab one thing out of Galatians chapter 3, then I'm going to get Galatians 1 out of the way. I want to do Galatians. You know, I ain't got to do that because who are willing, we got tomorrow. Why jam it on here and you don't have to? We don't have to do that. We could take our time. Here we go. Verse 19. This is what we need. This is what I've been waiting to get to. Listen to what he said. Wherefore then serve the law, or wherefore then the law? It was added because of what? Transgressions. Till the seed should come to whom the promise was made, ordained by Malachim in the hand of a mediator. Listen what he's telling you, right? Let's go back to Genesis chapter 2. The law was added because they rebelled. What did they rebel against? They didn't rebel against the law. They rebelled against the word of Yahuwah, and that's why the law was added. And that's why when you look at New Jerusalem, it ain't going to be no law because there won't be no transgressions. That's why he say, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. Because guess what? When heaven and earth pass, all sin and rebellion dies with it. So therefore, there will be no law because there is no sin. Why? Because the law is in the hearts and mind of everyone who dwells there. Why? Because everyone who dwells there is ruach. They are flesh and bone. They are born of Elohim. They have put on his esteemed body and put off this vile body. So therefore, there will be no need for the law because Elohim will be dwelling with them, and Yahuwah's eyes is too pure to behold evil. No one will be sinning there. But see, Bruce don't want to hear that. Again, what is not in the kingdom of Hamashiach? The tree of life. See, he can't let you, look here, man, at the end of the day, he was letting you know he kept you from the tree of life until faith was revealed. Because he said, if you let him have from that, now they can become one of us, they can live forever. He say, oh, no. You know why? Because in heaven ain't no law up there. You think Yahuwah need to remind himself, I don't need to eat no pork today. I need to remember to keep my Sabbath. He is Elohim. He is the word. The word is in him because he is the word. You don't need to be reminded of the word. His righteousness is because he is who he is. He don't need to remind himself, I'm God. He doesn't have those type of insecurities that man possesses. I hope y'all ain't over there laughing at my baby. You laughing at my baby. Well, shoot, don't laugh at him either. Genesis 2:8 one more time, y'all. Yahuwah Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he formed. Out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. Notice how he say good for food, because what did Paul tell you the law was? The law was just and what? Good. It's not that the law is not good for food. It just can't produce everlasting life. You see how that tie in when Paul say the law is good? Because the law told you that it was good. Let me read it to you again. Oh, janky passport. There you go. And out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge and good and evil. Because what my man was talking about was this here, like, you know what most brews have been taught? That the law was always from the beginning. But see, in essence, it is always from the beginning, but it wasn't revealed to man from the beginning of his creation. Does that make sense? Because if there's a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and Yahuwah is the instructor and giver of said law, then of course the law was from the beginning, but Adam did not have it. And why did Adam not have it? Because he made man upright. So there was no need for him to have it. There was no sin there. Why would I tell him about something that he has not done? He's saying a river went out of Eden to water the garden from thence and part of, we don't need all of that. Verse 16 or 15. And Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for in the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die. So this is the rebellion that they did. He told them, don't eat from this. That is the rebellion, but they did not have the law. Remember what it said, their eyes were open and they were naked. Why were they naked? Because of sin. How is it because of sin? Because now they know what is good and what is evil, therefore their sin is exposed. Now let's take a look at something else before we get out of here. I'll leave you to ponder upon this. Yahuwah willing, we'll get to Galatians 1 because we're pretty much done with Galatians 3, and we'll talk about the things that pertain to the tree of life in the book of Proverbs and other places like that. But I want you to come to Galatians 5. This is another element that I want you to ponder upon as you think about the kingdom of God, the Malkuth of Shamahim, the Malkuth of Elohim, and the Garden of Eden. Because this won't pertain per se directly to the kingdom of Hamashiach, though to an extent you can relate it. Nevertheless, 5 and 16 of Galatians 5 and 16. I say then, walk in the Ruach, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh, and these are contrary to the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. But if you be led of the Ruach, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, sedations, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I've told in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the Malkuth of Elohim. And you know why? Because they are the devil. Remember, he said, consider my sons, the work of my hands, what I got for them to inherit. You remember that? You ain't the son of his, you ain't his son behaving like that. You a lot of things, but you ain't no son of God. I can tell you that. He said, but the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no what? Now you see how that relates in Garden of Eden? If they would have ate from the tree of life, because this is what they say, the fruit of the Ruach, right? And what gives life? It's the Ruach that gives life, correct? So they could have ate from that tree and partook in those things because there's no law against it. And guess what you turn around and you see in the kingdom of Elohim? You see the tree of life. What you think that tree of life going to produce? It says for the healing of the what? The nations. Well, what you think is going to heal you to be able to produce? There's no law against these things. Why would he give an instruction against it? See, what we don't even realize is what was really being told in a very short burst of information that you would need expert level of understanding. When I say expert, meaning you would need Elohim. Not that you can become an expert, but you would need Elohim. You would need godly understanding to understand the difference between the two trees and why they even mentioned. Do you see that? If they would have ate from the tree of life, this is what they would have had. There is no law. And what did we just read? The law was added for what? Transgression, correct? So guess what? When they was in that garden, there wasn't no transgression. So that's all they would have had. But instead, they chose law and died. Because the law couldn't give them what they were looking for. What did Satan lie and tell her what would happen? She would what? It would be like God. She said, but if we eat from this tree, we'll die. And he told her what? You shall not what? Surely die. You know why? See, he wants you to eat from the law because he know you're going to die. See, y'all didn't even know that he was trying to use the word of God against you to slay you because he already know the law slay. The law don't give life. Satan knew this. See, we the only people who don't know that. Don't you know if you eat from the tree of life? What did the testimony in Genesis 3 say? He said if they eat from this tree, they're going to do what? They're going to live forever. They could have lived forever if they ate from the tree of life first. He gave them the option to go get it. And it said all those trees were pleasant to the sight. But they just wanted that one. Because when it come down to it, as it's been from the garden to this very moment, that we'd rather choose the flesh than to choose the spirit. You know what I'm talking about? It's been that way, and people don't realize that. And they just want to point at Eve. But you know why they want to point at Eve? Because they don't realize the house of Yasharal is Eve. That's what I was telling that jackass yesterday. The house of Yasharal is Eve, you dummy. You know what I'm talking about? Well, you were talking about the women, the reason why we died. The women that did that, and the third. And then you went in the land and did just like her. So guess what that means? You stupid like her then. You talking about yourself, you dummy. Because you chose death instead of life. Don't you realize when Moses told them, I set before you life and death, therefore choose life? That was right after he gave them the instruction of faith when he said the word is not under the earth where you can't get it. It's not in the waters. It's not in heaven where you can't get it. It's in your mouth and heart so you could do it. You don't even realize that he gave you the same choice that he gave them in the Garden of Eden. And you chose the tree of knowledge of good and evil just like she did. And got the nerve to talk about that woman. You wicked bastard Jew. I know you your mama's son. That's what we're going to start telling these niggas. I know you your mama's son. It's okay, baby. You don't know no better. I just say that there because I don't be liking when dudes do that, man. It's the woman. It's the woman. You are the woman, sir. You are that woman. That's why you mad. Because you see your mama every time you look in the mirror. And you hate yourself. Why my daddy ain't love me? Get a therapist, nigga. Go talk to somebody. You need a hug? Y'all need to start giving these boys some hugs, man. Tell them there's somebody there for them. You know what I'm talking about? Tell them you can cry with me, brother. It's okay. Let it out. Now, I can't hold you when you ball up in fetal position like your mama did, but I can sit here and talk to you. Because the junk, see, you don't know. See, you got about 2, 3 niggas, they go in their room and cry because of you. They say you ain't give them the love that they needed. Who? Nigga, there's some owls in here, nigga. The blanket thief. I would say this here in general, not this here, man. Most women got a nigga who is 38 hot with women for life because you broke his heart. And you may not even know you broke his heart. Oh, you got a nigga, you broke his heart. Oh, his heart broke right now. Shattered in a million pieces. He liked to sing that song by that white woman that they turned into a diss record. I don't know the name of it, so. 1,000 miles and run. That's what you got that boy. I miss you. That's what he doing. And he sit in the house. He do all that. You know you did it. You done did it. You done did it. See, the thing is, this is what I'm telling you. You done it, but you didn't know you did it. You ain't know that this person was like, I love her and she won't be with me. And now he mad with women for the rest of his life because of you. It's niggas that lame out here. I'm just trying to tell you. You didn't have to overtly do anything. You could have just been like, I'll call you later, and didn't call. You just don't know how sensitive some of these boys is out here. You understand me? Know what you say?
Somebody didn't call. I'll call you later. They didn't call.
Didn't call. I'm trying to tell you, man, because some of these niggas don't get no female attention. So he was literally sitting at home waiting for that phone call. He was sitting like this here. Nigga, call him, man, get up the phone, man. My girl gonna call me. This nigga don't even, that ain't your old lady.
Wow. Somebody.
Sure. Sadly, some of these hypotheticals are some people's reality. And I only say that because I hear niggas on the internet crying about it. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas be hurt. You know what I'm talking about? They like this here. They like this here. She having sex with all these niggas here in the house masturbating. He hate women because of this. Y'all just don't be understanding, man. I heard a dude talking about some women the other day. I heard it in his voice. My homeboy ain't even in the word. This nigga in the word who was talking. My homeboy who worked for me, he ain't even in the word. And boy, he heard that nigga. He said, boy, that nigga sound like he finna cry. He said, these women are hurting us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm like, bro, this nigga finna cry. And this is my thing. Why you even allowing a woman? You niggas 30, 40 years old, 50 years old. Man, these niggas who been in the word 10, 15, 20 years, they still crying about women. Boy, how you niggas keep getting done by dirty by women all these years? That means y'all niggas beta male simp manginas. You can't be no 50-year-old beta male simp. Crying about women doing you dirty. You 50 years old, nigga. What's wrong with you? The boy need Jesus. You know what I'm talking about? I'm dead serious though. I'm saying it in human fashion. That's the only way that I can't be disgusted from what I heard. I literally heard a grown man say a man can't survive on one income alone. He need two. And if he get multiple wives, then you know what I'm saying, he can increase it. You already in a bad position. How you gonna be in a position of power and you telling these women they need to work to be able to finance what you got going on? Talking about drop your check off. Now ain't nothing wrong with her dropping her check off. But the fact that you talking about you need 2, 3 women to do, that means you can't afford the lifestyle that you trying to live. So you going 50-50 with this broad, and then you expecting her to respect you as the king, and she splitting bills with you, bro. And you wonder why they bucking. Then on top of that, these niggas don't realize, I don't care how much scripture you throw out there, if she see you in the house acting like a hoe, she gonna treat you like a hoe. Then you get on the internet talking about how wicked these women is, crying and whatnot. Don't nobody want to hear that. Stop being a sucker. You know what I'm talking about, nigga? Let your nuts hang and be a man, nigga. Is that funny to you? You find something about that humor?
The way you say things is
Funny how? Funny ha ha?
funny, weird.
You're going to have to get the line. We're going to make it short and quick, boss. You'll be all right. No, it's from the end of days. Your days. All jokes aside, though. Now, I remember I said that on that debate, and them dudes got offended. Tell me how you say you preach the word and you tell a man that his nuts hang. But you know what it means to let your nuts hang. It means be a man. Just be a man. I was, like I said, I was disgusted to hear grown men say that they needed a woman's money in order to do things. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Even without the word, that don't even make sense to me. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that means you got to pay the cost to be the boss. We didn't have this conversation before. Of course, you know, this conversation been going on a lot. Who benefits more in marriage, men or women? And they saying the only benefit that men get is because they live longer. But I done told you, you married to Yahuwah. You think it's a benefit to Yahuwah to be married to you? You know what I'm talking about? No, it's not. It's not. You're benefiting from him. You know what I'm talking about? It's no different. Now, see, that's different now. If the woman got to go 50-50 with you, she ain't benefiting from you. You know what I'm talking about? And it's not I can do bad by myself. I should have stayed alone. But depending on the circumstances, like you can't. These niggas be wanting to rule with an iron fist, but you need her money, and then they not understanding women. Now she's not gonna stick around, bro. See, a lot of these brothers, they get these chicks, they be enamored with your scriptural information, but if they see you a bussy dude, boy, they gonna slide. They gonna slide. It ain't matter what you got going on. And these dudes don't realize that. They think they men because they keeping law, but they not men in character. As a brother said, and I done told it before, man, you either a real nigga or you ain't. You know what I'm saying? And that's just simply what that is. Meaning you're either a genuine, authentic person or you're not. You know what I'm talking about? See, you're either a man or you're not. See, you can't be taught to be a real person. That's intrinsic. You know what I'm talking about? Now, you could be taught to be a man. Have to be. That's the only way you can become one. You know what I'm talking about? But that means whoever taught you had to be a real person. And see, when it's in you or it's not, meaning that authenticity gets instilled in you at a young age because your parents are authentic or whoever raised you is. So when dudes get in the word, if you was a flawed dude before the words, you're going to be a flawed dude in it. Because 99.9% of the time, you're not going to allow the word to take root to cleanse you and purge you because you didn't pick it up for the right reason. But let's get out of here because it's 11:30. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I appreciate y'all time and bless all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Yahuwah willing, we're going to finish up Galatians chapter 3, slide through Galatians 1, starting at verse 21, and deal with the stuff with the tree of life and just keep it moving. No, again, no means is anybody saying don't keep the man law. But you got to understand that your justification is going to only come by your faith in this man. And that's it. And there's no way around that. You don't have to like it. So praise the Lord, Brother Reynolds. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to agree with it. But you'll see it when you meet Yahuwah, though. He'll tell you about it. You know what I'm talking about? But again, blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah willing. Till the morrow.